A theater mask killed me. It tore itself from a wall, crossed 12 meters of empty air, and crushed my skull before the actors stopped smiling. Then, I opened my eyes in another world with 311 people laughing at me. I stood on a round platform in the Hall of Bonds. A blue crystal rested beneath my palm. It should have glowed when it measured my connection to familiars. Instead, it gave one tired spark and turned gray. The examiner lifted my hand as if it smelled bad. Zane Vale. Familiar resonance, 0. Mana capacity, 8. Physical power, 7. Final rank, 312th. My name appeared at the bottom of the crystal board, and the hall exploded with laughter. I looked at the board, then at the examiner. In my first life, I had died during a cheap theater show. Waking inside a new body should have been the strange part of my morning. Somehow, a room full of teenagers had found a way to make it feel normal. Leon stood in the front row. His red hawk familiar sat on his shoulder and spread its wings when the crowd looked at him. Leon had taken first place with a resonance of 86 and a mana capacity of 42. His family had paid for the northern training wing. He smiled like he owned the southern wing too. 0, he said. Even a chair has a bond with the person sitting on it. The laughter became louder. Deputy Head Garrick stepped onto the platform. He was a broad man with a silver academy chain across his chest. His smile was polite. His eyes were not. The academy accepts talent, he said. It does not operate a shelter. He held up my scholarship seal. I had earned it through written exams before awakening. It paid for my room, meals, and books. Garrick broke it in front of the hall. The sound was small. The reaction was not. Students whispered. A few clapped. The crystal board changed beside my name. My scholarship became 0. My room number disappeared. A red mark declared that I had until sunset to leave the dormitory. I had been awake in this world for less than 10 minutes. I was already homeless. You can still select from the rejected familiars, Garrick said. Academy law gives every awakened student that right. Naturally, any feeding cost will be your responsibility. The academy lived on noble money. A student with 0 resonance damaged Garrick's reports. He was protecting a profitable number, which made him more dangerous than a fool. I stepped off the platform without answering. A worker near the back tried to move a heavy cage away from the aisle. The wheel broke. The cage fell and trapped his hand against the floor. Students walked around him because the familiar inside was an old mud lizard with a bad smell. I lifted the cage. My power was only 7, so my arms shook. The worker pulled free. A slim girl with black hair knelt beside him and wrapped his bleeding fingers with a strip from her sleeve. She wore the gray scarf of an assassin student. Her name badge said, Aria. You lost your room, she said to me. He nearly lost 3 fingers. She looked at me for a quiet second. Everyone else watched the crystal board. Aria watched my hands. Thank you, the worker said. I nodded and followed the rejected students toward the lower vault. There were only 6 of us. One chose a blind cave rat. Another chose a fish that could breathe only in milk. The fish already looked worried about the price of milk. At the final pedestal, nothing waited for me. Leon and several students had followed us for the show. Garrick stood near the door with his arms folded. It appears even the rejected familiars have standards, Leon said. Then the vault keeper remembered a wooden box beneath his desk. Inside lay a simple white mask. It had no mouth, no decoration, and 2 narrow holes for the eyes. Its rank crystal gave a weak gray light. F rank, the keeper said. No attack skill, no defensive skill. It cannot move by itself. We think its only effect is hiding the owner's face. Leon laughed so hard his hawk almost fell from his shoulder. Perfect. The weakest student received a dinner plate with eye holes. The crowd repeated the joke. Within a minute, students outside the vault were calling me Plate Face. I picked up the mask. It was warm. For one instant, I smelled old curtains and stage dust. I heard applause from my first life. Something large moved behind the white surface, far deeper than the thickness of the wood. A voice whispered directly into my thoughts. Bond accepted. Hidden class condition confirmed. No glowing window appeared. No letters floated in the air. The voice spoke once, calm and clear, and only I heard it. A single class path had awakened. Its stages were Master of Masks, Lord of Forms, and King of Transformations. My familiar could preserve the form of a monster I personally defeated. When I wore it, that form could replace my body. It could not copy people. It could not copy an ally. I had to deal the final blow myself. Every law in this world said a familiar could grant one skill. Mine did not grant a skill. It made me the monster. I looked at the gray rank crystal again. F rank. The empty mask truly had no power. It was waiting for me to fill it. "I'll take it," I said. Garrick shrugged. Leon bowed to the mask as if greeting royalty. "All hail the King of Plates." People laughed as I signed the bond record. More than 60 students watched my name appear beside the weakest familiar in Academy history. By lunch, a drawing of me wearing a cooking pot had been pinned to the public board. Nobody watched a joke carefully. That was useful. I owned 2 shirts, 1 blanket, a dull knife, and 11 copper coins. The dorm manager put it outside before noon. The cheapest room cost 12 silver a week. I lacked 11 silver and 89 copper. I carried my blanket toward the abandoned practice tunnels under the western wall. They were dry, guarded from the street, and free. Free was my favorite price. Arya waited beside the tunnel gate. She held a paper bag. "The dining hall gave me too much food," she said. The bag contained 2 meat buns. Each was the size of my fist. Steam escaped when I tore the first one open. The dough was soft and sweet. Inside, chopped pork had been cooked with dark sauce, onion, and a little ginger. Fat soaked into the bread and warmed my fingers. "They accidentally gave you exactly 2?" I asked. "A serious kitchen failure." Her face remained calm. Her ears turned red. We ate on the tunnel steps. The warm air smelled of rain. Arya did not ask why I had chosen the mask. She only asked where I planned to sleep. Inside. Those tunnels were closed because gray wolves entered through the old drainage channel. I took another bite. "That improves the location." She stared at me. I showed her my training knife. I did not tell her about the voice. Trust was valuable. So was proof. I preferred to earn both in that order. "The reward for a gray wolf core is 18 silver coins," I said. "I need 12 for a room. I need 2 for food. The rest buys bandages. Your power is 7. That is why bandages are in the plan." Arya sighed and stood. 2 black daggers slid from her sleeves. "I'm coming. I need to kill it myself. Then I will make sure it only kills you by accident." We entered the tunnel. The mask grew warmer with every step. Broken crystals gave weak green light. After 80 meters, we found claw marks and blood. The wolf attacked without a sound. It dropped from a ledge and hit me in the back. Claws tore through my shirt. I rolled before its teeth reached my neck. Arya moved, but I raised one hand. "Wait." The wolf weighed almost as much as I did. Its speed was 21. Mine was 9. In a fair fight, it would open me like a food package, so I did not fight fairly. I backed toward an old wooden training frame. The wolf charged. I threw my blanket over its head and stepped aside. It struck the frame. A cracked iron bar fell across its rear legs. The wolf twisted free before I could stab its neck. Its paw hit my chest and threw me 3 meters. Pain flashed through my ribs. My mana remained at 8. My power remained 7. Being chosen by a secret class had not made my bones secret. The wolf came again. Arya stood 5 steps away. Her daggers were ready, but she obeyed. She was the first witness to my weakness, and she did not laugh. I grabbed a loose chain from the floor. When the wolf jumped, I dropped flat and pulled. The chain snapped tight between 2 posts. The animal spun in the air and landed badly. I drove the knife behind its front leg. Once, twice. The wolf bit my shoulder. I did not release the blade. On the 3rd strike, its heart stopped. The tunnel became silent. Arya looked at the dead wolf, then at me. "You planned that?" "I planned the chain. The biting was an extra feature." The mask pulled itself from the cord. It floated between us. White mist rose from the wolf and entered its blank surface. A thin gray line appeared across one cheek. The voice returned. "Gray wolf form preserved. Transformation cost, 2 mana each minute. Safe duration, 3 minutes. Speed increased from 9 to 27. Scent increased from 4 to 32. Power increased from 7 to 14. Arya heard nothing, but she saw the mask move. I pressed it to my face. Cold passed through my skull. My hands struck the floor and became paws. Gray fur ran along my arms. My spine bent. The tunnel expanded around me as my eyes dropped lower. I smelled water behind stone, iron in Arya's blood, pork sauce on her fingers, and a rat hiding 40 meters away. My body had become the wolf. Arya took one step back. Her power was 19. Her speed was 24. Her daggers could have reached my throat before I moved. She lowered them. Zane? I nodded. Then I ran. At speed 27, the world became slow. I ran along a wall, cleared a broken cart, and stopped one finger from solid stone. My mana fell from 8 to 6. After 1 minute, it fell to 4. At 2 mana, hunger hit me. Not human hunger. The wolf wanted the rat. It wanted Arya's wounded finger. It wanted to chase anything that ran. That was the price the voice had not measured. I tore the mask away. My human body returned. The wolf's bite remained on my shoulder. The claw marks remained on my back. I had gained a form, not a second life. Arya caught me before I fell. Your familiar turned you into the thing you killed, she said. Yes. That is impossible. The mask did not receive that notice. Then she laughed. It was surprised and bright, nothing like the laughter in the hall. She cleaned my wounds while I removed the wolf's core. Her hands were careful. I told her the rule, the cost, and the safe duration. I did not mention my first death. Not yet. Will you hide it? She asked. I will hide what matters. That afternoon, the academy held the entry speed trial. Students had to cross moving wooden arms, jump 3 walls, and strike a bell. More than 200 spectators filled the yard. Garrick saw me at the registration table. You are no longer a scholarship student. Academy law allows every bonded student one trial. His mouth tightened. He had used that law to embarrass me in the vault. Now it trapped him. Leon walked onto the course first. His hawk shared its vision with him. He avoided every wooden arm and reached the bell in 31 seconds. The crowd cheered. Garrick praised the best result of the morning. Leon passed me on his way out. Try not to break your plate. My turn came. I placed the white mask over my face. The crowd laughed before the change began. Then my arms became gray legs. The first row went silent. The silence spread across the yard like cold water. I ran. The first wooden arm swung toward my head. I passed beneath it. The second struck only fur. I cleared the first wall without touching it, ran 2 steps along the second, and jumped over the third. I ignored the wolf's instinct and struck the bell. The crystal timer flashed 18 seconds. For one breath, nobody reacted. Then the yard erupted. Students pushed toward the board. Instructors checked the timer twice. Someone screamed that an F-rank familiar had beaten the first-ranked student by 13 seconds. My name rose from 312th place to 84th. That was only the general ranking. On the speedboard, my name appeared at number 1. Leon stared at the timer. His hawk pulled its head beneath one wing, as if it no longer knew him. A trick, Leon said. He entered a trained wolf. Arya stepped into the yard. She held the official core receipt from the western tunnel. The time of death, my name, and her witness mark shown on the paper. He killed it last night, she said. Alone. The students around Leon turned toward him. His joke returned from 100 mouths. All hail the king of plates. This time, they were looking at me. Leon's face became the color of his hawk. He stepped onto the course and demanded a second attempt. Garrick allowed it. Leon struck the first wooden arm, tripped over the second, and landed inside a water barrel beside the track. The barrel cracked. Leon remained stuck from the waist down. 200 students watched him order servants to pull him free. I removed the mask before my 3rd minute ended. My mana fell to 2. My legs shook, but I remained standing. The trial master approached me with a bronze speed badge. No F-rank familiar has ever taken first place in a category, he said. This result enters the academy record. The crowd heard every word. By sunset, the drawing on the public board had changed. Someone had added legs to the cooking pot. Someone else had drawn Leon trapped inside a barrel behind it. The guild paid me 18 silver coins for the wolf core. The trial master added a 5 silver academy prize. I had gone from 11 copper coins to 23 silver and 11 copper in one day. My speed had risen from 9 to 27 while transformed. My rank had risen by 228 places. Power, money, and reputation. All 3 had moved. I rented a small attic room for 12 silver coins. The roof leaned to one side, and the window faced a brick wall, but the lock worked. Arya helped me carry up a straw mattress. We spent 3 silver coins at the market. That evening, I cooked chicken stew in a black pot. I browned the meat until the skin became gold. I added onions, carrots, potatoes, salt, and a spoon of red pepper. The broth grew thick and glossy. We ate it with fresh bread. Butter melted into the torn center and ran over my thumb. Arya sat on the floor because I owned 1 chair. "Your room is terrible," she said. "Yesterday, I lived in a wolf tunnel." "Your room is magnificent." Rain tapped against the crooked roof. The mask lay on the table between our bowls. In the warm light, its gray cheek mark looked almost like a smile. I had 8 silver and 11 copper left. I needed a stronger knife, more mana, and a second form. I also needed to learn why a mask from this world smelled like the theater that had killed me. I reached for another piece of bread. The white mask turned by itself. It faced the floor. The voice spoke inside my head. A sealed form had been detected beneath the academy. Distance, 140 meters. Name, True Face. Rank, unknown. Then something under the city opened one enormous eye. The eye vanished before I could blink. The floor stopped trembling. Arya did not feel it. Outside, rain continued to fall as if the city had not been watched by something buried below it. I did not sleep much. At sunrise, my mana had recovered to 8. The wolf form remained in the mask. The words, True Face, remained in my memory. I wrote 3 goals on the back of my rent receipt. Increase my mana. Find a form that could survive a direct hit. Earn enough money to stay indoors for a month. The cheapest mana tonic cost 1 gold coin. Better armor cost 3. I had 8 silver and 11 copper. My plan was poor, but it had excellent handwriting. Arya knocked on my door while I was boiling oats. I added milk, sliced apple, and a spoon of honey. The oats became thick and smooth. The apple stayed crisp. Arya placed roasted walnuts on top and claimed she had found them by accident. "The guild posted an emergency contract," she said. "Stone beetles entered the East Quarry. The pay is 4 silver for each shell." "How many beetles?" "At least 10. 40 silver would pay my rent for 3 weeks. It might also buy a better knife if the beetles did not use my bones as mining tools." We reached the guild before the morning bell. The contract hall was already full. Miners stood near the counter with dust in their hair. Academy students gathered around the emergency board. A crystal above the board showed each accepted team and its rank. My bronze speed badge drew whispers when I entered. Yesterday, people had moved aside because they did not want to stand near the weakest student. That morning, they moved aside because they wanted to see what I would do. Reputation was a strange animal. It changed direction faster than a hungry dog. I placed my guild card on the counter. The clerk examined the F-rank mark beside my familiar. Emergency contracts require an E-rank familiar or higher. My academy speed badge is 1st rank. The rule measures the familiar, not the owner. Leon appeared beside me in polished leather armor. His red hawk had a small silver guard over its chest. 4 students from noble families stood behind him. "Rules protect weak people from their own confidence," he said. "You should thank her." He placed a gold team seal on the counter. The clerk accepted it at once. The crystal board showed Leon's team as the official hunters. Their reward would be 8 silver per shell and 5 gold coins if they secured the quarry before sunset. "The guild offered me double," Leon said. "That happens when people expect you to return alive." The miners watched him with hopeful faces. The East Quarry paid half the lower district. Every hour it remained closed cost families their wages. I studied the contract rules. "You rejected me as a hunter," I said to the clerk. "Can the quarry hire me as a laborer?" She frowned. "Laborers enter at their own risk. The guild pays no injury fee. Daily wage, 6 silver. Accepted." Leon's team laughed. The board listed me beneath them as temporary cargo staff. "Carry my spare bag," Leon said. "Try not to transform into it." Sponsors had filled the academy yard after my record. If an F-rank student kept beating Leon, his family would question his expensive training. He needed my victory to look like luck. I ignored that need. The East Quarry cut into a red hillside. Wooden paths circled down to cranes, storage sheds, and a dark mine entrance. 32 miners waited behind a barricade. Their foreman, a heavy woman named Mira, argued with a large blue cat. The six-eared cat refused to move. Mira wore a beast tamer's green jacket, and quarry dust covered her face. Blue says something larger is inside, she told Leon. Leon looked at the cat. Your familiar is afraid of beetles. Blue showed all its teeth. He is afraid of nothing smaller than a house, Mira said. That is the problem. Leon ordered the miners to stay back. His team entered the quarry while the spectators gathered on the upper paths. An Academy recording crystal floated after him. Successful emergency missions awarded ranking points, and Leon wanted every second preserved. I carried rope, water, and his spare bag. The first stone beetle came through a wall. It was as wide as a table. Leon's hawk marked its weak joints, and his team killed it in 12 seconds. The miners cheered from above. Leon looked toward the recording crystal before he looked at the second tunnel. That was why he missed the vibration beneath his feet. Blue hissed. Mira shouted. 6 beetles erupted from the ground. I put on the mask. The wolf form carried me between snapping jaws and falling stone. My speed rose from 9 to 27. I caught one young miner who had been thrown from a ladder and dragged him behind a cart. My mana fell to 6. Leon's team recovered. Fire from the hawk cracked one shell. A spear pierced another. They were trained and well-equipped. They were not useless. Then the mine entrance exploded. A hand made of stone pushed through the dust. It was followed by an arm thicker than a tree, a square head, and a body almost 5 meters tall. Blue's warning had been correct. A quarry golem had awakened beneath the mine. Its chest held a yellow core worth 2 gold coins. Its threat rank was D. The recording crystal turned toward it. Leon turned away. "Retreat!" he shouted. That order abandoned the miners trapped below. The golem struck a wooden support. Half the eastern path collapsed. 8 workers fell onto a stone ledge. A crane tilted above them with a full load hanging from its cable. Mira ran toward the ledge. Leon caught her arm. "Leave them. The entire wall is coming down. Those are my people. Dead people if you follow them." He released her and climbed toward the exit. His team followed. One member stopped, ashamed, but Leon shouted his name, and he continued. The 32 miners and the recording crystal saw their hunters retreat. I pushed Leon's spare bag into his arms. "Your cargo," I said. Then I ran down. Arya did not try to stop me. She dropped from the path beside me. Mira and Blue followed. The golem lifted 1 foot above the trapped workers. I had 2 mana left. 1 minute of wolf form. I raced across the ledge, jumped from a broken beam, and struck the yellow core with my knife. The blade snapped. It moved with the patient anger of a building that had decided to punch someone. Its hand hit my side. I crossed 10 meters of air and entered a storage shed through the roof. The wolf form vanished. I returned to human shape beneath broken boards. My ribs screamed. My mana was 0. The golem turned toward the workers again. Mira's blue cat attacked its face. Claws left white marks and nothing else. The golem caught Blue and threw him against the wall. Mira screamed his name. Arya moved behind its knees. Her daggers cut the binding marks that guided the stone, but the damage was too small. I found a mining hammer under the boards. I also found 3 barrels marked with red paint, blasting powder. The golem's core was exposed only when it raised both arms. I had seen it during the first strike. The opening lasted less than 2 seconds. "Mira!" I shouted. "Can Blue make it look up?" She understood at once. The cat jumped onto the crane cable. He climbed with all 6 ears flat. At the top, he roared. The sound was far too large for his body. Loose stones jumped. Everyone in the quarry covered their ears. The golem looked up and lifted its arms. Arya cut the crane's brake. The hanging load dropped onto its shoulders. The golem caught it, but the weight locked both arms above its head. I rolled 1 powder barrel beneath its chest. "Run!" The miners pulled each other behind the ledge. Mira carried Blue. Arya seized my collar and dragged me after them. I threw a burning lamp. The blast struck like a giant door. Rock and smoke filled the pit. The golem remained standing, but a black crack crossed its chest. The yellow core shone inside. I had no mana. I had no knife. My left arm barely moved. I still needed the final blow. I took the mining hammer and walked forward. The golem tried to lower its arms. The crane load held them for 1 more second. I climbed its cracked chest and swung. The first blow chipped the core. The second sent pain through both hands. The crane cable began to tear. I struck a 3rd time. The core shattered. The golem froze. Then 5 meters of stone collapsed beneath me. Arya caught my wrist. Mira caught hers. 3 miners caught Mira. Together they pulled me from the falling body. More than 40 witnesses saw the white mask rise from my chest. Yellow mist poured from the broken core. The mask absorbed it. A dark line appeared along its jaw. The voice spoke. Quarry golem form, preserved. Transformation cost, 4 mana each minute. Safe duration, 2 minutes. Defense increased from 6 to 48. Power increased from 7 to 31. Speed reduced to 5. My mana remained empty. I could not test it. The miners had seen the wolf, the golem's death, and the mask taking its light. Mira pointed at me. You ate my quarry. Only the violent part. The recording crystal floated above us. Its red light remained on. Leon returned when the dust cleared. He had found 6 guild guards near the entrance. He entered behind them with his hawk ready and stopped when he saw the dead golem. The workers were alive. Blue stood bruised while Arya bound my ribs. Leon looked at the recording crystal. My team weakened it, he said quickly. The laborer only took the final strike. The miners became silent. The foreman of the cutting crew stepped forward. His beard was white with dust. Your team scratched 1 beetle, he said. Then you climbed out faster than the man who holds the speed record. Laughter rolled around the quarry. Leon's jaw tightened. I made a tactical retreat. You left your spare trousers behind, another miner said. I looked at the bag Leon still carried. The laughter doubled. Leon demanded a review. The guards brought the crystal to the upper platform, where every miner gathered around the viewing wall. The crystal replayed Mira's warning, Leon ignoring her and the trapped workers. Then his own voice filled the quarry. Leave them. The entire wall is coming down. No one laughed at that part. Leon tried to leave. The guild captain ordered him to remain until the review ended. The crystal showed me returning his bag. It showed the powder, the crane, the shattered core, and the miners forming a human chain to save me. When the image faded, the guild captain removed the gold mission seal from Leon's chest. Your team abandoned protected workers, she said. The emergency reward is revoked. Your guild reliability falls from 81 to 40. The academy board beside the viewing wall updated. Leon fell from 1st place to 4th. My name rose from 84th to 39th. 32 miners began chanting my name. I had expected relief. I had not expected the sound to feel heavier than the golem. The guild clerk who had rejected me arrived with the payment box. The quarry hired you as labor, she said. The 6 silver wage is yours. Quarry law also gives the golem core reward to the person who destroyed it. 2 gold coins and 40 silver for rescue compensation. She counted the money in front of the miners. 1 gold, 2 gold, then 46 silver coins. After rent and breakfast, I had 5 silver and 11 copper. Before sunset, I held 2 gold, 51 silver, and 11 copper. The guild captain stamped my card. Copper hunter license, effective immediately. The hall rejected my familiar that morning. The quarry promoted it before dinner. Leon stood beside the broken crystal screen. Dust covered his polished armor. His expensive red hawk sneezed into his hair. Mira slapped a stone beetle shell against Leon's chest. Your team killed one, she said. You can carry it. The shell weighed nearly 30 kilograms. The miners made him carry it all the way out. My mana recovered to 4 by evening. The academy defense yard was full when I arrived. News had traveled faster than we had. Students filled the seats. Instructors waited beside the testing pillar. Leon had already told them that the explosion killed the golem, and my mask had done nothing. I walked to the center of the yard. 1 strike, I told the trial master. He set the iron ram to power 30. That was enough to break a wooden shield and 2 human ribs. I placed the mask on my face. Stone covered my arms. It spread across my chest and shoulders. My body grew until the yard seemed smaller. I became a golem 3 meters tall. Not as large as the original, but large enough to make the front row climb backward over their seats. The iron ram fired. It hit my chest. The wooden base shattered beneath it. I did not move. My defense had risen from 6 to 48. The strongest defense score among first-year students was 34. The trial master increased the ram to power 40. I stopped it with one hand. The crowd stood. The stone body wanted to remain still forever. It disliked noise. It disliked movement. It especially disliked the red hawk circling above me. I removed the mask before the instinct grew stronger. 4 mana had lasted 1 minute. My skin returned, and pain from the earlier blow returned with it. The board placed my defensive score at number 1. I now held the first speed score and the first defense score while still owning an F-rank familiar. Leon challenged the result. "He cannot move in that form," he said. "A wall is not a warrior." The trial master looked at the broken iron ram. "Today, a wall saved more people than you did." The entire yard heard him. Leon left while students repeated the sentence behind him. Mira joined us for dinner. She had received 1 gold coin for reporting the hidden golem and spent part of it on enough noodles to feed 6 people. My attic had 1 chair, so nobody used it. We sat around the black pot on the floor. The broth was dark and rich. Thin slices of beef curled between wide noodles. Mira added garlic, green onion, mushrooms, and too much red pepper. Arya cracked 3 eggs into the boiling soup. The yolks stayed soft. When I broke mine, gold ran across the noodles. Blue occupied half the room and watched every bite with 6 disappointed ears. "No," Mira told him. "You already ate a beetle." Blue looked at me. "Do not ask him to transform into dinner," Arya said. For the first time since entering this world, my room felt like a home. I placed 1 gold coin beneath a loose floorboard for rent. I spent 80 silver on a steel hunting knife and 40 on 2 small mana tonics. That left me 1 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper. My transformed defense was now 48. My guild rank was copper. My academy rank was 39. All 3 numbers had moved again. Mira examined the gray and black marks on the mask. "A wolf mark? A stone mark. If it keeps collecting monsters, what happens when there is no white left?" The mask turned toward her. Blue hid behind the 1 chair. A knock struck the door. An academy messenger stood outside. He carried a sealed route assignment for the next day's field exam. I opened it. My route passed through Griffin Ridge. A zone closed after 3 students vanished. At the bottom, fresh silver wax carried Garrick's personal seal. The mask became hot against my hand. Far below us, the hidden eye opened again. This time, a second eye opened beside it. By sunrise, both eyes were gone. The field exam board stood in the academy courtyard. Each team had been given a route based on its rank. Safe forest paths went to the lowest students. River ruins went to the middle. The strongest teams received the lower slopes of Griffin Ridge. My name was written alone at the highest point. The route crossed the nesting cliffs. 200 students read it. Then they read my rank. 39. Whispers moved across the courtyard. Garrick stood beside the board in his silver chain. After the quarry recording, several guild officers had questioned him about Leon's training reports. He needed a public reason to call my recent victories unstable. A failed exam would give him one. "The routes were selected by Crystal Lottery," he announced. "The academy cannot change them because 1 student is frightened." "I did not ask you to change it," I said. That disappointed him. Leon stood with his new team near the safe river route. He had fallen to 4th place, but he still had money, skill, and an angry hawk. He no longer laughed first. He waited for other people to begin. Nobody did. Arya examined my assignment sheet. She touched the silver wax beneath Garrick's seal. "Lottery seals are blue," she said loudly. Several instructors looked at the paper. Garrick's smile remained in place. "Emergency ink. The blue wax was unavailable. The supply office received 50 blocks yesterday." Arya had checked before asking. That was one reason I liked having her near me. Garrick raised one hand. "Any student who refuses an assigned route receives a failing grade and loses all ranking points." The crystal board showed the cost beside my name. I would fall from 39th back to 312th. My copper license would remain, but the academy could expel me for poor performance. I signed the route. The courtyard reacted at once. Some students called me brave. Others called me stupid. One boy called me both in the same sentence. The examination master assigned a floating recording crystal to follow me. Garrick tried to object. "1 student does not require a full crystal." "1 student entering a closed zone requires 2, the master said. He added a second crystal. Garrick stopped smiling. 12 students with roots near the ridge asked to travel with me until the lower marker. They wanted protection, but they also wanted to see the mask. Witnesses were becoming easier to find. I checked my supplies. 1 steel knife, 2 mana tonics, 20 meters of rope, dried meat, bread, salt, and water. The 2 tonics had cost 40 silver. My remaining money was 1 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper. "Do you have a plan?" Arya asked. "Yes. Does it involve falling?" "Only for the griffin." Mira and Blue came through the gate carrying a basket. "You need a monster expert," she said. "This is an academy exam. I am an academy tamer." She showed me a student badge that had been hidden beneath quarry dust. Her rank was 63. She had received the forest route. "You would lose points for leaving it," I said. "I gain points for documenting a rare familiar. Also, Blue followed you." The 6-eared cat sat on my supply bag. I accepted the argument. We left with the 12 students and 2 recording crystals. The academy bells marked the start of the exam. Griffin Ridge rose beyond the northern farms. Dark trees covered its base. Higher up, gray cliffs cut through the forest like broken teeth. Wind moved between them with a low whistle. The first hour was quiet. We crossed the lower marker and found fresh deer bones. Mira knelt beside them. "1 griffin," she said. "Adult, larger than normal." Blue sniffed the ground and sneezed. Arya found a strip of red cloth tied beneath a bush. It smelled sharp and sweet. The wolf inside my mask hated it. Mira's face hardened. "Nesting lure. Hunters use it to draw flying beasts toward a target." The cloth carried a small academy supply mark. Both recording crystals moved closer. The 12 students saw it. One of them recognized Garrick's assistant placing similar strips inside the equipment hall that morning. My route had not merely been changed, it had been baited. That was the first useful mistake Garrick made. A scream came from above. We reached the first cliff and found Leon's team on the wrong route. Their safe river path did not pass within 3 kilometers of the ridge. Yet all 5 of them stood beside another red lure. Leon held a sealed instruction ordering him to watch my failure from a protected observation point. The griffin had found them first. It dropped from the clouds with wings wider than a house. Its front half resembled a giant golden eagle. Its rear legs were those of a lion. Scars covered its beak. 1 eye was white. The wind from its wings knocked 2 students from their feet. Leon's hawk attacked. It looked like a red leaf beside the griffin. 1 claw struck the hawk and sent it into the cliff. Leon screamed. The griffin seized a girl in its rear claws and lifted her from the ledge. I put on the mask. The gray wolf form carried me along the cliff. My speed became 27. I jumped, caught the girl's wrist, and drove my knife into a crack in the stone. The griffin pulled upward. The blade bent. Arya wrapped our rope around a tree. Mira and 3 students grabbed it. The griffin released the girl and climbed into the sky. My mana fell from 8 to 6. I pulled the mask away. The girl clung to the ledge and cried. Leon crawled toward his wounded hawk. The recording crystals floated above us. One watched the sky. The other watched the red lure beside Leon. "It will return," Mira said. "The lure tells it we threaten the nest." "How long until it attacks?" The sky darkened. "Now." We ran beneath a stone shelf. The griffin struck the ledge. Rock broke under its claws. 3 students were thrown over the edge. Their safety ropes snapped one after another. I became the golem. My defense rose to 48. My power rose to 31. My speed fell to 5. Stone fingers closed around the falling ropes. The sudden weight tore my feet through the ledge. I caught all 3 students, but the cliff began to split beneath me. Arya drove both daggers into the rock and wrapped one arm around my stone neck. Mira and the others pulled the students up. The griffin hit my back. Its claws carved through stone armor. Pain reached my human bones beneath it. The impact pushed me over the edge. Arya went with me. We fell. The cliff wall rushed past. I had 4 mana. The golem form weighed too much. The wolf form could not fly. The voice entered my mind. Multiple preserved forms detected. Master of Masks consequence unlocked. Direct transition was possible. Additional cost. 1 mana. It was not a new power. The mask had always replaced my body. Now I understood that I did not need to return to human shape between replacements. I shifted from stone to wolf in the air. My weight vanished. Arya held the fur along my back. I pushed away from the cliff and landed on a narrow pine tree growing from the rock. The trunk bent until the needles touched the wall. Then it threw us onto a lower ledge. The recording crystal followed us down. Students above shouted when we stood. My mana was 3. The griffin turned in the sky. I drank 1 tonic. It tasted like mint mixed with dirty coins. My mana returned to 8. My stomach cramped, and the voice warned that a second tonic within 1 hour would damage my channels. We had 1 safe tonic left and 1 angry bird the size of a carriage. "Its white eye is blind," Arya said. "It turns left before every dive," Mira shouted from above. "The chest is armored. The throat opens when it calls." Leon knelt beside his hawk. The bird was alive, but 1 wing hung at a bad angle. "Kill it," he said. "Move everyone away from the lure. I know how a hunt works." The griffin dove. Leon dragged his hawk behind the red cloth. The beast followed it exactly. I changed into the golem before impact. The shift cost 1 mana. The first second of stone armor stopped the beak from entering my chest. It still carried me across the ledge like an angry refrigerator with wings. I locked both arms around its neck. The griffin climbed with me attached. My stone weight slowed it. Claws tore at my back. Each strike removed chunks of armor and opened matching cuts beneath my shirt. I had 5 mana left. The golem consumed 4 each minute. I could not hold it long. The griffin opened its beak and screamed. I returned to human form for half a breath and drove the steel knife through the soft throat. Blood struck my face. The beast rolled in the air. I held the knife with both hands. The cut widened. 1 wing hit the cliff. The griffin fell toward the lower exam field where more than 100 students could see it. We crashed through the branches of 3 pine trees. The griffin struck the ground first. I struck it second. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then its claw closed around my leg. It was still alive. The students in the field screamed warnings. Instructors ran toward the impact site. The 2 recording crystals hovered overhead. The griffin raised its beak. I had lost the knife. My mana was 4. My ribs were already damaged. I became the golem one last time. The claw crushed stone instead of bone. I seized the griffin's upper and lower beak. My power rose to 31. Its neck wound opened as it fought. The stone instinct told me to remain still. The wolf instinct told me to bite. My own mind chose something simpler. I pulled. The beak broke. The griffin stopped moving. Silence covered the exam field. 100 students had watched the fall. 12 had watched the full battle. Leon's team had watched me save them. Both recording crystals showed the red lure and the sealed order. The white mask floated from my stone face. Gold mist rose from the griffin. It entered the mask and formed 2 thin marks above its eyes like wings. The voice spoke while everyone watched. Griffin form preserved. Transformation cost 6 mana each minute. Safe duration 90 seconds. Flight speed 50. Power 26. Vision 45. I returned to human form. 1 mana remained. Arya reached me first. Blood covered her sleeve. Her hands checked my neck, chest, and eyes. "Say your name." "Zane." "Say mine." "Arya." Only then did she breathe. Mira arrived with blue. Leon followed slowly, carrying his hawk. He looked at the dead griffin and the students surrounding me. "You stole my kill," he said. Nobody laughed. They simply stared at him. The girl I had pulled from the griffin's claws stepped forward. "You brought us here to watch him die." Leon looked at the recording crystal and understood too late that it remained active. "Garrick ordered it," he said. The entire field heard him. That sentence ended Leon's usefulness to Garrick. The examination master collected the sealed order and the lure. He sent 1 recording crystal directly to the academy. The other remained to record the return. The griffin core was worth 6 gold coins. Its feathers and claws brought another 2 gold after the academy deducted transport costs. I spent 1 gold on healing and received 7. My remaining money rose from 1 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper to 8 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper. The exam awarded me 100 practical points for completing the route, 60 for defeating a D-rank threat, and 40 for rescuing 5 students. My academy rank rose from 39 to 7th. My fastest form now moved at 50 in the air. That was almost twice the wolf's speed. Power, money, and status rose before I could stand without help. The return to the academy became a parade I had not requested. Students carried the Griffin's broken head through the main gate. The recording crystal projected the battle onto the outer wall. Citizens stopped in the street. Shopkeepers leaned from windows. Children ran beside us wearing paper plates over their faces. The joke had become a symbol. Garrick waited in the Hall of Bonds. Every instructor, student, and available guild officer filled the room. The same platform where he had broken my scholarship seal stood beneath him. He called the recording incomplete. The first crystal showed his red lure. He called the supply mark a forgery. The supply master identified it. He called Leon's order unofficial. Leon entered with his injured hawk and placed the sealed paper on the platform. Garrick looked at him with pure hatred. Leon looked back. "You promised my loss would be temporary," Leon said. "You promised the mask would disappear." There it was, the motive, the method, and the witness, all in one frightened sentence. Garrick tried to leave. The guild captain blocked the door. The headmaster removed the silver chain from Garrick's shoulders. He did it slowly, in front of the same 311 students who had watched my scholarship break. "Pending a full investigation, you are removed as deputy head," he said. The crystal board erased Garrick's title. Then the headmaster faced me. He held a new scholarship seal. "Your room, meals, and books are restored. The academy will also pay 2 gold coins each month as a special field stipend." I accepted the seal. "I will keep my attic." The students began whispering. "Why?" the headmaster asked. "The dining hall has no space for a 6-eared cat." Blue made a proud sound from the back of the hall. Laughter broke the tension. Even several instructors joined it. Garrick stood without his chain near the door. I walked past him. He lowered his voice. "You think this ends with me?" I stopped where the recording crystal could see us both. "Please speak louder." His face went pale. The hall laughed again. That evening, Arya and I sat on the academy roof. My healers had wrapped my chest and leg. The city lights spread below us. Griffin Ridge was a dark shape against the stars. She had brought hot meat pies from the lower market. The crust cracked beneath my fingers. Steam rose from beef, onion, and black pepper. We ate sweet apples afterward and dipped the slices into honey. For several minutes, we said nothing. It was an easy silence. "When you changed in the air," Arya said, "you looked at me before you looked at the ground. I needed to know if you were still holding on." "I was." She touched the edge of the mask. Then she touched my face where the mask ended. "This is the part I worry about," she said. "The human part? The part that thinks falling from a cliff is a plan." I smiled. Below us, the main gate opened. 20 armored riders entered the courtyard. Their white cloaks carried the seal of the Central Familiar Guild. Students moved out of their path. The man at their head wore a black metal glove and an inspector's gold chain. A scar crossed his mouth. He dismounted and looked directly at the roof. The mask became cold against my chest. The inspector raised a scroll. His voice reached the entire academy through a speaking crystal. "I am Lord Cassian, Central Inspector. By order of the capital, the forbidden familiar held by Zane Vale is to be confiscated immediately." 6 gold marks on the scroll began to burn. Cassian gave me until the morning bell. If I surrendered the mask, the capital would cancel all charges. If I refused, the guild would classify me as an uncontrolled monster and remove my hunter license. The offer was clean, legal, and designed to leave me with no useful choice. I studied the inspector from the roof. He did not look pleased. He did not look cruel either. He looked like a man closing a dangerous door before something came through it. That made him harder to dismiss. Arya and I spent the night in the academy archive. Mira brought food and 6 books on familiar law. Blue slept across the doorway and growled whenever a guard passed. The headmaster could delay confiscation on academy ground, but he could not stop a central order. At midnight, Leon entered the archive. His hawk rested in a sling against his chest. The healer had saved the wing, though it would take a month to recover. Leon placed Garrick's private ledger on the table. He kept copies of every false rank and mission payment, he said. "Cassian will use them to claim the whole academy is corrupt. Then your exam records will mean nothing." "Why give it to me?" Leon looked down at the sleeping hawk. "Because I followed Garrick to Griffin Ridge. My familiar nearly paid for it. I will not follow him again." He had not become my friend. He had finally found a limit to his pride. That was more believable and more useful. Arya opened the ledger. Inside the back cover, she found a copied paragraph from the first bond charter. A guild could not break an active familiar bond if the owner demanded a trial of control. The owner had to defeat a threat selected by the guild. The trial had to be public. If the owner succeeded without harming a human witness, confiscation became illegal for 1 year. The law was old. It had been written after noble families used the guild to steal rare familiars from poor hunters. Cassian would know it. "He will choose something you cannot defeat," Mira said. "Then he will choose a form worth keeping," I said. At dawn, I ate before walking to the arena. Arya fried thick slices of bread in butter. Mira cooked eggs with tomatoes, salt, and green herbs. The yolks were soft. I dragged the bread through them and drank sweet black tea. It was a small meal before a large problem. Arya refilled my cup. "You do not have to accept. If I run, the guild hunts everyone who helped me." That was not what I meant. I understood. She would help me leave. She would give up her academy place and disappear into another country if I asked. I touched her hand. "I know." That was the first promise we made without saying it. The grand arena held 5,000 people. Every seat was filled before the morning bell. Citizens crowded the upper walls. Academy students occupied the eastern stand. Guild hunters filled the west. 3 public recording crystals hovered above the sand. The capital riders formed a line around the central platform. Cassian stood in black armor. He read the charges in a voice that reached every seat. "The familiar has displayed 4 independent powers. It has altered its owner's body. It has absorbed monster essence. Each act violates the accepted laws of bonding." The crowd murmured. He showed images from the Academy crystals. The wolf, the golem, the change between them, the dead griffin. To the city, those images were victories. To the capital, they were evidence. Cassian faced me. "Zane Vale, surrender the familiar." I requested a trial of control under the first bond charter. Arya raised the original law book from the witness table. The page had been marked by the headmaster and 3 guild judges. The crowd became louder. Cassian's expression did not change. Request accepted. He had expected it. The northern arena gate opened. Heat reached us before the creature appeared. It walked on 4 long legs. Black fur covered its body, but red flame moved beneath the fur instead of skin. Its head resembled a panther. 2 horns curved behind its ears. Every breath dropped sparks onto the sand. A furnace beast. Threat rank, high D. Power, 42. Speed, 44. Its fire burned through normal stone. It had killed 7 licensed hunters during its capture. My maximum mana remained 8. The wolf cost 2 each minute. The golem cost 4. The griffin cost 6. Direct changes cost 1. I carried 1 remaining mana tonic, but drinking it so soon after the previous tonic could scar my channels. The safe plan was to lose and surrender the mask. The useful plan began when the beast charged. I became the wolf. Its claws passed behind me. Heat burned the fur along my side without touching me. I circled the arena, measuring its turns. The creature was faster than the wolf in a straight line, but it dug deep into the sand before changing direction. 5,000 people watched the first exchange. Cassian watched my feet. The beast breathed fire. I changed directly into the golem. The shift cost 1 mana. Stone armor rose around me as the flame arrived. My defense was 48. The fire did not strike like a weapon. It entered every crack. My stone chest turned red. Pain spread through my human skin beneath the form. I held for 3 seconds, then returned to human shape and rolled away. Burns covered both arms. The crowd stopped cheering. The furnace beast came again. I used the griffin form. Gold wings burst from my shoulders. I crossed the arena at flight speed 50 and climbed above the fire. The audience rose as one body. The beast followed me from below. It leaped almost 10 meters and caught my rear leg. We crashed against the barrier. The magic wall flashed. People in the front row jumped back. My mana fell to 3. I changed into the golem in the air. The additional cost left 2. We fell together. 3 meters of stone landed on the furnace beast. The sand burst outward. Its ribs cracked beneath me. It did not die. Flame exploded from its body. The golem form broke apart. I returned to human shape and flew across the arena. My back struck the central platform. My mana reached 0. The furnace beast stood. 1 rear leg dragged. Blood burned before touching the ground. It was injured. I was empty. Cassian lifted 1 hand. "The trial may end by surrender." The voice was for me, not the audience. "Give up the mask and live." His eyes held no joy. He believed he was saving my life. I picked up the tonic. Arya stood behind the witness barrier. She knew what the second dose would do. Her face became still. I drank it. Cold cut through my stomach. My mana returned to 8. Then pain entered the channels in both arms, thin and bright. The voice warned that my maximum mana could fall permanently. The price was real. I stood anyway. The crowd began chanting my name. It started in the academy seats. The quarry miners joined. Then the lower district joined. 5,000 voices struck the arena walls. Cassian looked around and understood that the trial had become larger than the law. The furnace beast charged through the sound. I became the wolf. It turned after me. I let it close the distance. At the last moment, I jumped onto its damaged side and drove my fingers into the burned wound beneath its shoulder. The beast rolled. I changed into the golem before it crushed me. The shift cost 1 mana. My stone hands locked around one horn. The creature flooded itself with fire. Cracks spread through my arms. The stone instinct demanded silence and endurance. The wolf wanted its throat. The griffin wanted open sky. 3 dead minds pulled in 3 directions. For 1 second, I forgot the arena. I smelled prey. I felt wind that was not there. I wanted to sleep under a mountain. Then Arya's voice cut through the crowd. Zane, only my name. It was enough. I tore the horn free. The furnace beast screamed. Its mouth opened. A white core shone behind its tongue. I returned to human form with the horn in both hands. I drove it through the open mouth. The point entered the core. The beast fell so close that its burning nose touched my boot. The chanting stopped. The white mask rose. Red mist poured from the body. Unlike the earlier essence, it fought the mask. Flames formed a screaming face above the sand. The mask pulled harder. Its blank surface turned black around the edges. Then the red mist entered. A flame mark appeared across the forehead. The voice spoke. Furnace beast form preserved. Transformation cost 8 mana each minute. Safe duration 1 minute. Power 42. Speed 44. Fire resistance 50. Flame output 38. My strength had gained its largest increase. The arena answered with a roar. Cassian lowered his hand. The 3 judges began recording the victory. Then the dead beast's core exploded. Fire struck the northern barrier from inside. The magic wall cracked. A second wave entered the control channels beneath the arena. Red lines ran through the sand toward every support crystal. One after another, the crystals burst. The northern section of the barrier fell. Flame rolled toward the lowest seats. Hundreds of people had nowhere to move. Children stood against a locked rail. The Capitol Guard stepped back and raised shields around Cassian. I had 6 mana after the final changes. The new form required 8 for a full minute. I could hold it for 45 seconds. I put on the mask. Black fur covered my body. Red fire replaced pain. Horns rose behind my head. The arena became cool. I ran into the wave. The furnace form did not merely resist the flame. It recognized it. Heat entered my chest and moved through the lines beneath my fur. I turned toward the broken center of the arena and pulled. The fire followed me. It bent away from the stands. 5,000 people watched a black beast stand in the center of a burning circle. Flame climbed around me like a tower. The mask shook against my face. My mana fell with every breath. I forced the fire downward into the empty furnace pit beneath the arena. At 2 mana, my sight turned red. At 1, the beast's instinct found the crowd. It saw warm bodies. It wanted to hunt. Arya climbed over the broken witness rail. She walked into the hot sand while everyone else moved away. Zane, she said again. I looked at her. The fire vanished into the pit. I tore off the mask. My human body returned. The burns returned with it. I fell before I reached her. Arya caught me on her knees. Nobody spoke for 2 long seconds. Then the arena shook with noise. The guards lowered their shields. Cassian looked at them, then at the families I had protected. Shame passed across his face. He walked to the center without his escort. The judges gave him the final declaration. He could have asked for a delay. He could have blamed the broken barrier. Instead, he used the speaking crystal. Zane Vale defeated the selected threat, he said. He maintained control. He protected every human witness, including those my own guard failed to reach. His words crossed the city. Under the first bond charter, confiscation is denied for 1 year. The crowd cheered. Cassian continued. The Central Guild recognizes Zane Vale as a silver hunter. The state will pay 30 gold coins for the furnace beast, the arena rescue, and damage caused by an unsafe control core. 30 gold. My money rose from 8 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper to 38 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper. My guild status rose from copper to silver. The Academy board placed me 3rd overall. My strongest form now held power 42 and speed 44. All 3 scales moved while I lay in the sand, unable to lift one arm. The healers carried me to the arena clinic. Their mana test found damage. My maximum capacity had fallen from 8 to 7. The second tonic had taken 1 point permanently. I could still use the furnace form, but only for 52 seconds from a full reserve. Every direct change became more expensive. New strength had made every old decision harder. That felt fair. Cassian visited after sunset. He came alone and placed his black glove on the table. Beneath it, his left hand was made of metal and crystal. "A changing familiar killed my first team," he said. "It copied the voices of wounded hunters. We followed those voices into a nest. 11 people died. I cut off my own hand to escape." That explained the scar, the caution, and the choice of law over trust. "My mask cannot copy humans," I said. "Today, I saw that. Do you believe me now?" "I believe what I saw today. Tomorrow requires new proof." It was not friendship, it was honest ground. He told me something else. The gold marks on his confiscation order did not belong to the guild. They belonged to an organization called the Order of the Pure Face. The order had supplied the capital with warnings about a white mask beneath the academy. "They knew your name before the wolf trial," Cassian said. Before leaving, he returned the confiscation scroll. One line had appeared on the back in fresh ink. "When the 5th form wakes, open the door below." We ate dinner in my attic after the healers released me. Mira roasted a whole bird with garlic and lemon. The skin was crisp enough to crack beneath the knife. Potatoes cooked in the fat until their edges became gold. Arya made a sharp green sauce and poured cold grape juice into mismatched cups. Leon came late with fresh bread. He stood at the door until Mira pushed a plate into his hands. Blue stole 1 roasted wing and hid beneath the bed. Half his body remained outside, but he believed the plan had worked. Cassian sat on the floor beside the window. He had refused dinner twice. He accepted after the smell reached him. For 1 quiet hour, the inspector, the assassin, the tamer, the former enemy, and the owner of an illegal mask passed food around a black pot. My room had never been more crowded. A girl stood across the street. I noticed her through the window. She wore an academy uniform. Her hair was pale gray. I had seen her once in the Hall of Bonds and again in the highest arena row. No one beside her seemed to notice she was there. The mask turned toward her. Wolf scent found nothing. Griffin vision found nothing. The golem sense found no weight against the ground. Even the furnace form detected no heat. For the first time, the mask could not identify a living shape. I went downstairs. The girl waited beneath the street lamp. "My name is Ren," she said. "What are you?" "A student, according to 4 years of academy records." "According to the mask?" "Nothing." She looked toward the academy hill. "The eyes you saw were reflections. Tonight, the first real eye opened." The earth moved beneath us. Across the city, cups fell from tables, windows shook. Every academy bell began ringing without a hand touching it. Ren faced me. "True face is awake," she said, "and it remembers killing you." The academy hill split before dawn. Blue light rose from a crack between the Hall of Bonds and the western wall. Every familiar in the city made the same low sound. Fear. The earthquake damaged 200 homes and opened old tunnels beneath the lower district. Quarry miners cleared stone. Students carried water. Guild hunters guarded the streets. By sunrise, more than 1,000 citizens stood beyond the academy gates. 40 white knights surrounded the crack. They belonged to the Order of the Pure Face and had been hiding beneath Garrick's office. Their leader was Prelate Malric. He wore a golden smile mask and carried a staff shaped like an eye. "The academy is under sacred quarantine," he announced. "Anyone beneath the surface will remain there." 26 students and 9 workers were missing. "The lives below are an acceptable cost," Malric said. 3 recording crystals carried his words to the city squares. The fear outside the gate became anger. Cassian confronted him. Malric showed an order with the same 6 gold marks that had appeared on my confiscation scroll. "Our authority is older than your guild," Malric said. Your mistake is being recorded, Cassian replied. Arya and Ren stood beside me. The White Knights never looked directly at Ren. They trained themselves not to see the seal, she said. The ground moved. Something far below struck a door. I had 7 mana, 4 forms, 38 gold, 31 silver, 11 copper, a silver license, and 3rd place in the academy. None of those numbers could pull 35 people through stone. The mask showed me a route. Griffin vision found moving air. Wolf scent found blood and living bodies. The golem sensed broken supports. The furnace beast sensed blue fire. Malrek blocked the crack with his staff. There are 40,000 people above, he said. Then protect them. I will bring back the 35. His knights moved. The academy students stepped between us. Quarry miners and guild hunters joined them. Leon stood in front with his wounded hawk. Cassian caught Malrek's staff in his metal hand. Attack them in front of 3 crystals, he said, and your ancient authority will need a modern lawyer. The crowd laughed. The order stopped. I descended with Arya, Mira, Blue, Ren, Cassian, and 2 recording crystals. The first collapse held 9 workers. I used the golem form and held the ceiling for 1 minute. My power rose to 31, my defense to 48, and my mana fell from 7 to 3. Blood ran from yesterday's burns when I returned to human shape. During a short pause, we ate warm bread filled with roasted chicken, soft cheese, and green sauce. Cassian shared hot coffee from a silver bottle. Blue received milk and looked insulted by the small cup. The city watched through the crystal and saw that we planned to return for lunch. Blue found 11 students behind a wall. A stone centipede attacked while Arya guided them out. Mira drove it into the open, and Cassian broke its head with 1 metal punch. The rescued students cheered. The courtyard above repeated the sound. The remaining 15 people waited behind a wall of blue fire. My mana had recovered to 4. I used the furnace form and pulled the heat into myself while they escaped. At 1 mana, every heartbeat sounded like prey. Arya said my name. I removed the mask. All 35 people climbed toward the surface alive. Their families cheered as the city board played the rescue beside Malrek's claim of acceptable loss. The Order had not lost a battle. It had lost the crowd. Ren continued down. The stair beneath the academy ended at a pair of red curtains. No stone doorway stood around them. They hung across the tunnel as if waiting on a stage. Dust did not touch the cloth. Warm yellow light shone beneath the lower edge. The smell reached me first. Old wood, paint, heavy curtains. The theater from my first life waited on the other side. I had died there. I remembered the cheap seat beneath me, the actors smiling, and the giant mask crossing 12 meters of empty air. For the first time since awakening, my hands shook. Arya noticed. She took my left hand. She did not ask why. I died behind that curtain, I said. Cassian looked at the impossible doorway. In this world? In another. The recording crystals carried my answer to everyone above. There was no useful reason to hide it now. I told them about the falling mask. I used only a few sentences. The story did not become less absurd when spoken aloud. Mira looked at the white familiar against my chest. A mask killed you. Then you woke up and chose another mask. My judgment was damaged. Even Cassian laughed once. We crossed the curtain. An underground theater large enough to hold the academy waited beyond it. Thousands of white masks faced a wooden stage. Our 2 crystals recorded everything. Ren walked onto the stage. The seal made me to watch the door, she said. It gave me records and a face, but no species. She was an instruction wearing a school uniform. That was why the mask found nothing to copy. The stage floor opened beneath her. Black threads wrapped around her arms and legs. She did not scream. She looked at me as they pulled her down. The seal is using me as the final key. Arya threw a dagger. It cut 1 thread. Cassian broke another. 100 replaced them. Ren vanished beneath the stage. Every white mask on the wall opened its eyes. The giant mask rose behind the curtains. It was the same face that had killed me. Its white surface was taller than a house. There was no body behind it. Black arms unfolded from the darkness around its edges. Each hand wore a smaller human face in its palm. The voice inside my familiar changed. Source form detected. True face remained sealed. Defeat the source to complete preservation. The giant mask used my own voice. Zane, you were chosen. Images appeared across its surface. I saw my first theater. A black arm had pushed the mask from the wall. My death opened a path between worlds, and the creature sent my unbound soul toward the empty familiar. It needed an owner to collect 4 keys: wolf for the path, golem for the door, griffin for the height, furnace beast for the seal. Every victory had brought the key closer. The distant threat had not been waiting for me. It had been building me. The city saw the truth on the recording crystals. The academy courtyard became silent. The giant mask opened its mouth. Blue fire filled the theater. Cassian's shield lasted 1 second. Mira pulled him aside. I used my final mana point on the furnace form and crossed the first wave before it ended. One black hand struck me through 3 rows of seats. Arya cut the black threads. Cassian shattered smaller masks. Mira directed blue toward cracks in the stage. They gave me time, but not mana. The white familiar lay beside a broken seat. Its 4 marks burned. The source mask looked at it and pulled. My familiar slid across the floor. I caught the cord. "Return my face," the giant said. "You dropped it," I said. I wrapped the cord around my wrist. The stage cracked where blue struck it. Beneath the wood, I saw Ren suspended inside a clear crystal. A small black core rested against her chest. The source core. The giant mask had hidden its heart inside the one shape my familiar could not read. "Arya!" She followed my eyes. We moved together. Cassian and Mira drew the black hands left. Blue roared from the right. Arya ran up the wall and threw both daggers. One cut Ren's threads, the other struck the crystal. A thin crack appeared. The giant mask screamed. Every seat in the theater rose into the air. I had no mana for a form. I had human speed 9 and power 7. I ran anyway. Seats crashed around me and one broke my shoulder. I reached the stage with Cassian's fallen metal glove and struck the crack. The crystal split. Ren fell into Arya's arms. The black core rolled across the boards. The giant mask folded all its hands around me. With thousands watching from above, I lifted Cassian's metal hand and crushed the core. The giant face split from forehead to chin. Black light tore through the theater. The walls bent. The stage opened onto a sky without stars. The white familiar pulled itself from my wrist. It absorbed the broken core. The walls screamed, but the familiar pulled in all the black light. A final line appeared down the center of the white surface. The voice returned. True face preserved. The 3 class names were stages of one bond. Master of Masks completed, Lord of Forms completed, King of Transformations awakened. True face combined the traits of every preserved monster. Transformation cost, 12 mana each minute. Current maximum duration, 35 seconds. Power, 64. Speed, 72. Defense, 70. Flight and Flame remained available. The price was human identity. Beyond 35 seconds, my oldest memories would disappear. The source core was dead. The source body was not. The split giant mask pulled itself together. The starless opening behind it widened. 6 distant shapes turned toward our world. I had 0 mana. Ren opened her eyes and touched the broken seal in her chest. "I can return what the door took," she said. "Once." Blue light raised my mana from 0 to 7. It bought 35 seconds. No more. I put on the mask. The world became clear. Gray fur covered black stone. Golden wings opened through red flame. I became every monster I had defeated, and none of them. Power rose to 64. Speed rose to 72. Defense rose to 70. I crossed the theater before the first second ended. I flew through 100 hands. Claws broke against my stone armor. Fire burned the smaller masks from the walls. At 5 seconds, I reached the giant mouth. At 10, I tore away its lower half. At 15, it wrapped black threads around my wings. I remembered my first room in this world. At 20, I broke the threads and drove both hands into the central split. I remembered the wolf tunnel. At 25, the source mask began pulling memories from me. My first theater disappeared. I forgot the actors, the seat, and the sound of the falling mask. At 30 seconds, I forgot the Hall of Bonds. I forgot Leon's first joke. I forgot the number at the bottom of the board. The giant mask began to laugh with my voice. 5 seconds remained. I no longer knew why I was fighting. Then a woman stood on the broken stage below me. Black hair, gray assassin scarf, blood on one sleeve. "Zane," she said. The name reached me. "You lifted a cage when nobody watched." 4 seconds. You shared stew when you owned 1 chair. 3 seconds. You came back for people who laughed at you. 2 seconds. The mask is what you wear. Zane is who chose. 1 second. I remembered her. I folded both wings and drove the source mask through the starless opening. Then I released every flame in the true face. White fire crossed the darkness. The giant mask broke into a million silent pieces. The opening closed. My mana reached 0. The form ended. I fell toward the stage. Arya caught one arm. Cassian caught the other. Mira and Blue caught all 3 of us. The recording crystals remained in the air. The entire city saw the empty wall behind the stage. For 1 breath, no one reacted. Then cheers came down through the tunnels. The lower district rang cooking pots. Quarry miners blew work horns. Students chanted my name. Malrek ordered the public crystal shut down. Nobody obeyed him. Cassian climbed to the surface and played Malrek's words beside the full rescue count. 35 people declared dead by the order. 35 people returned alive. The Central Guards arrested Malrek and the 7 knights from Garrick's office. The order reached too far to break in one morning. Its perfect public image did not survive. The Academy held the final ranking ceremony that evening in the damaged courtyard. The crack remained beneath the ceremony as the headmaster placed my name at number 1. My rank had risen from 312th to 1st in 5 days. The city awarded 100 gold coins for ending the disaster and saving the people below. My money rose from 38 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper to 138 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper. The Central Guild registered King of Transformations as the first new familiar class in 200 years. Then they measured the white mask again. The rank crystal gave 1 tired gray spark. F rank, the examiner said. The courtyard became silent. He struck the crystal twice. Still F rank. The crowd laughed for nearly a minute. The empty mask still had no attack, defense, or movement. The weakest rank remained technically correct. Children in paper masks raised a banner showing a white plate with wings. The guild captain gave me a black-silver badge and asked me not to break the next arena. Leon returned to 4th after surrendering Garrick's false points. His hawk bit him whenever he spoke too proudly. Mira received 20 gold and became senior monster researcher. She bought Blue a bowl large enough for his pride. Ren received no rank. Officially, she had never awakened. The headmaster gave her a room, a meal seal, and a blank student record. You may decide what goes in it, he said. For the first time, Ren smiled. Cassian returned my mask with both hands. 1 year of legal protection, he said. After that, the capital will try again. Then I have 1 year to become expensive to arrest. You achieved that in 5 days. The final meal filled the whole attic building. The landlady carried tables into the street. Quarry workers brought roasted beef with a dark pepper crust. Academy cooks made buttered carrots, soft rolls, and 6 pots of chicken stew. Mira added red pepper to 3 of them and warned no one. Sweet pies arrived, filled with apple and cinnamon. Cold cream melted across the hot crust. I ate until even the wolf form stopped thinking about food. Arya sat beside me on the roof after the others left. The city was quieter. Broken windows had been covered. Lanterns marked the damaged streets. People worked below us, repairing homes before night became cold. I had lost pieces of my first life inside the true face. I knew a mask had killed me, but I no longer remembered the stage. The creature had taken those images with it. I remembered everything after waking. I remembered Arya. She touched my cheek. Say your name. Zane. Say mine. Arya. She kissed me once. It was soft, brief, and warmer than furnace fire. Before midnight, I bought the attic building for 72 gold coins. The landlady kept her room and became the manager. The miners promised to repair the roof. Mira claimed the largest spare room for Blue. Ren chose the room with the clearest view of the academy. Cassian refused a key and accepted 1 anyway. I had 66 gold, 31 silver, and 11 copper left. I had a home, a registered class, 4 friends, 1 girlfriend, and the most powerful F-rank dinner plate in the kingdom. That should have been the end. The white mask turned toward the capital. One mark after another appeared across its surface. 6 distant presences had awakened. Far beneath the royal city, 6 sealed theater doors opened at the same time. Behind each door, an enormous eye looked toward me. The voice spoke one final sentence. The remaining masks had found their hosts.